TPE Network. Fun yet informative podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Mouse House. Take two. Hello and welcome to TV and Movie Reviews Podcast. I'm Hank and I am joined by not one, but two. There's three of us. It's kind of like a multiverse issue going on here. First up, I have Spider Mel. Mel, how are you?
I am super as always.
Fantastic. And next up, the amazing XD. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
He's just our friendly neighborhood XD. All right, we are going to be doing a spoiler-filled review of Spider-Man No Way Home. This is episode 34 of our TV and Movie Reviews podcast. Well, as we often do, I like to start out with the settings. You know, how did it look? Did anything stand out to you? Did it work? Was anything broken? Mel, I'm going to start with you.
So, as you know, I like to go into these things spoiler-free, which was
Hard.
pretty much very impossible. But I managed to, we'll get into that later, what I didn't get spoiled on. But setting-wise, I missed the first 4 minutes of it because even though we had reserved the tickets, and I found a perfect theater close to me, I made the rookie mistake of saying, hey, you know what I could do is get some overpriced movie theater popcorn. And that line was as long as you can imagine. So I said, okay, I got 20 minutes of trailers. That wasn't enough. This lady was in front of me just because she wanted to buy tickets. This was a theater where you buy tickets and popcorn at the theater, and she never heard of the internet apparently because like she was buying tickets for the next day. She was like, and so I thought to myself, how many other people are dumb enough to be at this theater just to buy tickets the next day when they can just do it from the comforts of their own home, let alone their phone, not even their computer. So so I ran in 4 minutes late, but I think I still did okay. I'm obviously going to see it a second and third time because, this was better than most movies they put out this year.
Most certainly.
Including movies that came out 2 days ago, Matrix.
Oh my! Don't get me started on that movie.
So back to the original question, Mel. How did you like the settings of the movie?
So physical setting of where I saw the movie, great. Setting in the movie, great. I loved everything overall.
Okay.
So, yeah.
XD?
I thought it was pretty good. I liked the coloring it had with it. I didn't like two of the characters, their designs. It bothered me. I didn't like the Goblin's outfit. It may be weird, but I wanted them to put like a hairpiece on Jameson just so he could be more comic accurate.
We'll get to problems in a minute, but let's focus on the aesthetics of the actual sets. So I did not like the Statue of Liberty. I thought that looked super fake, and it was really I don't know, it just seemed real low budget when they were on the Statue of Liberty. That's just me. Otherwise, everything seemed to work, especially when Jonas Jameson, he is in front of a green screen, like a podcaster. I was laughing out loud, like, oh, dude, he's, next they'll have him in, like, underwear, or he's not wearing pants or something silly like that. That would be funny as heck. Any other concerns on the settings, on the locales?
When you bring up the Statue of Liberty, it did seem like it was bigger than what it looked like, and it looked kind of weird to me with the whole Captain America shield up. I thought that was caping.
Yeah, a little goofy. Mel, any other issues before we move it on?
I had flashbacks of Grand Theft Auto when when you go to New York. Well, it's supposed to be New York, and they have the Statue of Liberty has the Starbucks cup, the coffee cup. That's what I thought of. I just said, just leave it normal. When you change it, it looks cartoony. But yeah, I didn't really like the Statue of Liberty change. But yeah, other than that, everything was great.
Okay. Well, shall we get into characters where we spend the bulk of our discussion? Let's all right. Let's start out with Tom Holland's Peter Parker. I actually have always enjoyed his portrayal of Peter Parker. There's a lot of people that can't stand him. So this was the first time that he kind of annoyed me because I know he's supposed to have the Peter Parkers always can get things done, but his little whininess and trying to change things and stuff, he created this entire big, huge mess. And for some reason, it kind of irritated me in this particular movie. It has never bothered me before, his delivery and stuff. But in this movie, when he was interacting with Doctor Strange, I was kind of annoyed by the character and by extension the actor. XD, what did you think about Peter Parker, Tom Holland's Peter Parker?
I have to agree with you. It reminded me of when you're driving in a car, you ask a woman, "Hey, what you want to eat?" And she says she doesn't know, but then you order yourself something, and then she wants to eat, and you're just going back and forth. That's what I feel like his exchange with Doctor Strange was. It was like he didn't really know what he wanted to do. He just knew he had to do something.
Right.
And it was confusing because it's like his whining, we got to do the right thing type. It's like he started everything. It's like you were the reason for all this going on.
Most certainly. Mel?
I feel the same way. It felt more like, we had to do a double take at one point because he's supposed to be going to college soon, and he was acting like a freshman or a sophomore high schooler. The way he was whining, the way he was bringing up stuff, it's But of course, he didn't get the great power comes great responsibility catch yet, so he wasn't really mature on that end. He wasn't being a real hero, and that's why he needed Iron Man. That's why he needed Happy Hogan. That's why he needed he needed Mysterio. So he really wasn't mature as a hero like he should have been just yet. So I think that kind of was the excuse, but no, definitely he was very immature.
And it's like, what, 6 movies in? He finally got...
Yeah.
He's finally maturing. Oh, my goodness. All right, we'll move on to MJ's character. I have never had a problem with this iteration, this kind of swerve, as it were, of this MJ. This is not the real Mary Jane, but I've never had a problem with this character, and I actually really enjoyed the development of this character when things are out in the open, especially in this movie. And I think she was, bubbling up towards the top of the list of people who hit a home run in this movie. Mel, I'm going to start with you this time.
She was definitely better to me than the last few times, just because she wasn't doom and gloom. She was more kind of just on the ball. What needs to happen, and not all about murder and death. So it was definitely, she was definitely a lot better. It's like they said, hey, they wrote her more like an adult. They just didn't do that to him.
Right. XD?
I don't know. I kind of like my women kind of dark and mysterious at times. But
He just did it. He did it. He went there. That's good.
They say that XD like his women like his coffee, dark, bitter, and overpriced.
Overpriced. I keep receipts for those broads.
Mel will be performing all week, folks.
Tip your waiters on the way out.
Well, I really thought for this one though, it felt like it was starting to bubble up for their relationship, and for it to take a turn to what happens later on in the movie. It's like it didn't really develop strong to me. It's like it was. I felt rushed.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. Let's go to Doctor Strange. And I absolutely didn't like how they wrote him for this. He's literally the villain. Like he's essentially like the villain. And I didn't care for that. Mel, let's start with you.
Now you have me thinking about this. When he at the end of his original movie, when you find out that the Ancient One was keeping something away from him, I mean, was that technically a villainous role? Because now I'm wondering what makes a hero a villain just because they do things that they're supposed to do, and yeah, you might be right. You might be right. I mean, I think the way they wrote Doctor Strange made him a little more amateurish, if that makes sense. Like I mean, you look at Doctor Strange from Infinity War, and you look at Doctor Strange in this movie, and it looks like it's literally two different people, which is why there's theories that it wasn't the same one. I don't know if you saw those theories.
Yeah.
But,
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so it's now I don't know what to think because it definitely didn't feel like Doctor Strange in Infinity War. I mean, he looked at 14 million different solutions. And this one, he can't even do a simple spell because a 18-year-old is interrupting him. I mean, come on.
Change the spell 6 times, man. Come on.
Still.
XD?
And I would say that's a great point because if you go back to the Infinity War Doctor Strange, he was really protective. He was really on his game. Like, I'm not going to just put the time stone in a different area where Thanos can't get it. I'm going to make sure it stay close to me. But for this one, it's like, I need people to forget who I am. Can you please do a spell? All right, kid, let's go. It felt like, I understand that you have to do a movie, but it just felt really rushed to me. He didn't come off like the Sorcerer Supreme that he was supposed to be. I guess.
He's like, hold my potion. I'll be right back. Oh, good. Okay. Unanimous. Ned leads. Ned's character is unique in the sense that he is essentially just comic relief, and he has never really gone very much further than that. He is our Sam from Lord of the Rings, but just all funny. So I'm always neutral on him because the foil routine is fun, but it is done to death. And I think the only part that really stuck out to me is when he made that reference, like, I'm not going to turn on you and try to kill you. He just throws this out there because he has some other information, that this universe Peter Parker doesn't know or have yet. So I remain neutral on Ned. He's fine. He doesn't really add or remove anything. XD, what do you think?
I was bothered with Ned when he was able to do the circle thing so easily, and it's like, come on now. If you remember in Doctor Strange, they had to like force him in the mountains to do it to save his life, and Ned gets it immediately.
But his Nana said that he had magic abilities.
She can't even keep her house clean, so I don't trust anything that woman says.
All right, Mel.
I have seen those complaints about Ned being able to do the magic, and let's remember that Doctor Strange didn't have any kind of
the sling
affinity for manage. Yeah,
oh,
so
okay.
Ned got the sling, but he still shouldn't have had the ability. But the thing is he was open to magic because of his family. He believes magic was a thing. Doctor Strange went into it in the movie saying, I'm all science. So he had to break his original way of thinking. That's my only pushback I have. Other than that, I think that might be a job for the plot minions. They just wanted to get the story there and have somebody open it up to, get the ball rolling, and just that's why they had that throwaway line that magic is a thing. But I don't have any defense other than Doctor Strange was more about science when he first started.
And if you ever saw Benedict Cumberbatch in a chat room, in an Xbox Live chat room before he got this role, he was his screen name was Science365247. So could have something to do with it. And then I love that throwaway line literally moments before he starts doing magic.
Yeah, exactly.
That is outstanding. All right. Happy Hogan, did not like him in this movie. Didn't like him. They made him like whimpery and heartbroken, and he just wasn't on his game. And the other movies, he was on point all the way through to me, and still fun. In this one, he's just kind of goofy, and he's not really that fun. Mel, we'll start with you.
I think we're seeing the results of just a broken man. I mean, a lot of stuff has happened to him, since the first movie. The first movie that we've seen him in was Iron Man 1, and he was, he was just a security guy, and Tony, all he had to do was, stop Tony from his different dalliances, and, that was it. But now it hits the fan. People are blipping out. He's his best friend's dead. It's just a lot of stuff is coming now. He's his girlfriend, fiance, what have you's nephew is going. Stuff is going through him. He's in a public light. And then his girlfriend dies. Just a lot of stuff is happening to this guy. Like, I don't know if he has the opportunity to be fun in this movie like the rest of them.
Okay. XD?
It felt like it was pointless for him to even be in it. Outside of needing his apartment, you didn't really need him in the movie.
No.
So for this one, it was like he was better as just a stand-in. And then that would have been it.
Okay. So if they didn't have use his apartment, maybe he might have not even been in the dang movie or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like they needed access to technology, Stark Tech, and his location.
Yeah, I mean, and I believe it was the last movie where they were on the outs, him and Aunt May, and I mean, nobody really believed in that going far anyway. So it was just pointless to bring that up.
Okay.
And have him walking around all brokenhearted and crap.
All right, let's go to Electro, Jamie Foxx's character. Now, this has over time been perceived as one of the worst acted villains in the Sony Spider-Verse, as it were. But I thought he did okay. I thought his motivation was kind of stupid. At certain points.
What was it?
It's like, oh, I ain't going back there. I like this new power field. So I was like, okay, that's cool. You got a nice tingly sensation from this new electricity, so you don't want to go back and try to fix things and such. And he was just, I don't know. It's just like when he takes his action, it's just like, this is when you should take that action, instead of it making sense that, oh, he's taking this action right now. So, I don't know. XD, what do you think about the Electro character?
I wish they would have did more of explaining how he's no longer blue. Outside of Jamie Foxx not wanting to wear blue in this movie. And I didn't like the I thought you were black line when he got into the fight and he met I think it was Garfield Spider-Man.
Oh, where he wanted at least one black Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Where he was like, oh, you would think that one of them, at least one, would be black. That's that. Yeah, we'll bring that back up in just a little bit.
Yeah.
Mel?
That was
Oh,
it.
go ahead. Okay. Mel?
I, I try to stick with Jamie Foxx for a very long time, and I'm pretty much an Electro apologist, and it was just hard to stick behind some of the choices in this movie, just because even the clunky go back and forth when they were all just in the basement talking to each other. It felt like a lot of it was just forced. I mean, it didn't seem natural. And then
Right.
not if this is I'm not sure if this is a plot hole or not, but he never figured out that Andrew Garfield was Peter Parker. I mean, Spider-Man was Peter Parker, to my knowledge. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, but it just felt like they just brought him in just to bring him in and just connect the dots to more universes, and they didn't want to bring in the other Green Goblin or Rhino. But it just, I don't think they did right by him or his character at all.
Yeah, we we could keep going, but we'll leave it right there. Let's get into some of the other villains. Dr. Octavius, Doc Ock. I thought he did a really exceptional job in this, and I think I liked him when he was being like over the top nice. I think I like that part even better than the earlier stuff. But he was a lot of fun. I thought he did a great job. Mel, what did you think?
Easily one of the best things about the movies. Probably because he brings back one of the best Spider-Man movies. So yeah, definitely. Every time he spoke, every time he had a line, it elevated the movie to me.
XD?
I gotta agree. Same for me, especially when he got the nanotech. It made him even look better. When they fixed his mind where he actually had control again. I mean, his acting in this movie, I can compare it to Spider-Man 2 as just being amazing.
He slipped it in there. XD, you're amazing. No, I mean it. You are amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Let's go on to who I thought absolutely brought the house down. Norman Osborn. Willem Dafoe. He is lights out and apparently doesn't really age either. Mel, what did you think about Willem Dafoe?
First, let me say I was not spoiled on him showing up, if you could believe that. So that one I was not spoiled on. You have a podcast a news podcast where I was close to being spoiled on that, but not quite. But yeah. So it was great seeing him. He, I thought his motivations were pretty much aligned to how he originally was. His dual personality kind of thing, and he's a scientist at heart and what have you. But great seeing him. Definitely I put him and Doc Ock in the same boat where they definitely elevated the movie.
XD, what did you think? Outside of his outfit.
How about he was spectacular in his performance.
Yes.
Him as an actor, he has always killed whatever role he's ever been in, especially if he's a villain or whatnot. I really want him to touch on another role in another comic because he will own that. But for this movie, he was everything. In the apartment when his Spider-Man senses tingles going on, and he's like, Norman's basically just chilling in the back looking. It was like, man. What really had me excited was when during the fight scene when he was punching him and he was just laughing at him, and I'm like,
yes,
this dude is crazy, and he's like killing this right now. So amazing job,
Data boy. He was nuts. I loved it. Oh, next level. Now we'll get to some more characters. We got some more to cover. Wong, I'll continue to say this. his character seems to be a complete departure from where he had started. Just in my opinion, it's like he is not even the same person it feels like since the Doctor Strange movie. That's just my opinion, and I don't get why he's doing some of the things he's doing, and now he's the Sorcerer Supreme on a technicality, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I don't know, just something seems off to me. But Mel, what do you think about Wong?
I've been thinking about this for a while myself, and if you put Wong from, let's say, Shang-Chi up against Wong, who was such a hard ass in Doctor Strange that he wouldn't even let him look at the book. It feels like it's two different people, but then you say, is it because Doctor Strange was a bad influence? Now remember, Wong had no friends in his Doctor Strange. And then, he heard Beyonce, and then he started having Beyonce corrupts, and so
He joined the Beehive.
and so maybe he just had a corrupt, just a bad influence in Strange, just to kind of not be such a hard ass or not be so stoic and follow the rules. But it is definitely a departure. But I'd say the Wong who left in the middle of the war in Infinity War and said, "Oh, I got magic stuff to do," that felt like the Wong from Doctor Strange. He said, "You guys follow Ebony Maw, you do your little ring chase, but I got stuff to do," and he just left them. That felt more like Wong from Doctor Strange.
That is good. Oh, that is good. Sorcerer's gonna sorcerer. Okay, XD, what do you got?
I feel like with Wong, I compare it to what they did with Thor and 1 and 2 and how they made Ragnarok. He had to be more comedic, more of a comedy routine. I think with Wong, they're giving him more exposure, but it's more of the comedy than anything.
Okay.
I feel like the MCU, when the character is too serious and they're just too close to their comic book personality and it's not really giving them a life, they add comedy and they add stuff to them that doesn't make sense. Because based on my experience from Wong in the comics, he basically stayed in the house.
All right.
Now he's everywhere doing everything.
Yeah.
Fighting in illegal arenas.
Right.
Korea,
that made no sense to me whatsoever. Like, this is what we practiced. I'm like, oh, so he's a cheater too. It's like, what? All right, well, let's breeze through the rest of these if we can. Flash Thompson, didn't even think he needed to be in the movie. Mel, what did you think?
No, we could just go right past him. I think he was that they thought they needed comedy relief and they didn't think Ned was enough, and so they shoehorned him in as well. And it wasn't necessary.
He had one good joke, the Flashpoint book. That was it. XD.
Skip it. Just skip it. Keep it going. He didn't need to be in the movie.
Aunt May. I thought she did a good job. I was okay, I guess, with her saying the Uncle Ben line, but it's right on the cusp of me being okay with it. It's just right teetering right there, hovering, if you were. But XD, what did you think about Aunt May?
I'm like you when it comes to the line, because I was like, man, he's not even going to get the line. You got these other two Spider-Mans who got the message and were able to move past it, and Tom's never got the message of, with great power. And when she says it, like, oh, they're going to give it to her to give him that message. Okay. Die, woman. That was about it.
Mel?
So my question is, if he never got the message before, why was he like he was in Civil War? Didn't mean for that to rhyme so bad. But so why? I mean, when he said what he said to Iron Man, when Iron Man first approached him, he pretty much already had that mentality.
Yeah.
Right.
Which made us think Uncle Ben told him this. So now we're saying he never got this line, and he just was responsible. He was a 16-year-old kid with powers, and he never once thought to profit from it or be a kid or cheat at being a pizza delivery guy. Like there was nothing he did that was irresponsible with his powers without getting the line. And so 5 movies later, we gave him the line. So it just felt really. I don't know if the placement is right.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the other Spider-Men. Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. Man, he tore it up. I'm going to say something that I always say, and people get kind of triggered when I say this. I always thought Andrew Garfield was miscast, as far as I always felt like he should have been in DC and he should be the Flash. Like, I think he would play a perfect movie Flash. That's always been my take on the character. From his build to his delivery, he just seems more of that. But as is in this movie, he did a phenomenal job. He was kind of getting used as a punching bag a little bit. They dropped the "You're amazing" line on him, and then he has that jokey moment where he's like, I fought a Russian guy in an armor, whatever, a rhino suit or whatever. And, it was just kind of like he was a joke and stuff. But I thought he did a great job in this episode, or in this movie, excuse me. And I was very much interested in the character, so much so that I'll probably go back and rewatch some of his stuff just to see, if I just overlooked some of his ability or what have you in those movies. But XD, what did you think about Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man?
I thought he was pretty good, and of course, the MJ falling scene. I was happy that they let him show emotion during that after he caught her, because it had to be a trigger. It's like, even me, when I was in my car accident, I still kind of hesitated at a stoplight because it reminds me what I've been through. And then for him to see her falling, and they said something about how he even went with more force to get to her, and didn't use his web because he didn't want what happened to Gwen to happen to her. I thought that scene was very telling about his character, his portrayal of Spider-Man.
Yes. Mel?
I have always thought he was a good Spider-Man, but a bad Peter Parker, if that makes sense.
Wow. Okay.
So his jokes, his delivery, it's like you said, he's very good at the jokes part, and so as long as he had to, and I don't know if you caught this, when they were moving around or going from place to place, a lot of times he had on his costume, and Tobey Maguire was still dressed as a youth pastor, so to speak, and because Tobey Maguire made the better Peter Parker while he made the better Spider-Man, and so he always had his costume on, and Tobey Maguire didn't, and but yeah, I thought he stepped up his game. I'm not sure if they leaned into the fact that he needed something to prove, or just in general he was like, I got something to prove. But I felt that he did a lot better than the previous movies, and maybe he has more to work with, but he was definitely more enjoyable than the first 2 times around.
Okay. Let's go to the GOAT, Tobey Maguire, his Peter Parker. I just, to me, when you say Spider-Man on the big screen, I think Tobey Maguire. It could just be my age, etc., blah, blah, blah. But I think he is fantastic, and he did a great job of being like big brother Spider-Man. And he's just awesome to me. And I hope these rumors of him getting another movie and stuff are true, but we'll see. So I thought he nailed it. But what did you think, XD?
I agree with you. Him being so older, it made me think, oh man, that's the older Spider-Man. So that means that's Mary Jane they're probably married and crap. Like, I wanted to see her when I seen him, because I want to see how things went in that universe because of how he presented himself. So I really enjoyed him being in it.
Mel?
the age on him, how much he's aged, made me feel so old. Just looking at him, I said, "Oh man, didn't he used to be in high school?" It was almost depressing, just because, man, it's like, man, that's my Spider-Man. Shouldn't he be in college? Like, what's going on? But yeah, it was definitely great seeing him. I agree with everyone else, the rest of you. It was just he's the OG, of course. But when I think of Spider-Man, I think of Donald Glover. But that's just me. Um, Shots fired. But yeah, no, he did great. He did great.
All right, let's we got to the majority of the characters, so let's move off of that and let's get into some wins, shall we? I thought that like XD just said, that Andrew Garfield's save of this version of MJ was just spectacular. That was one of the best scenes in the entire movie to me. That's one of my wins. XD, you have anything that stood out that was just like stand up and clap?
My biggest win was the scene where all the Spider-Mans are going after the other three villains. Yeah. It puts you in the mode. Okay, they're really together. They're really about to attack. They're really about to be Spider-Man united with, like the meme where they're all pointing at each other. It's like, we're gonna get that in action form right now. So that was a big win for me.
Mel?
I was spoiled on Matt Murdock, the casting news, but
Yep.
I was, but still, when they showed him, the audience just clapped.
Yeah.
Everybody in our theater clapped, and then when he caught the what was it, a brick or just a,
Brick.
a random rock? But yeah, when he caught the brick, that was just that was it. That did it for me. And just from the start, I went into the theater. One of the first scenes in the movie was already a clap moment for us, and so that just told me that the movie was kind of just going to be going up from there. Which, and a side note, for me, I had saw this 2 days after I saw Hawkeye, and that week's episode of Hawkeye had Kingpin at the end of it. So I had Daredevil, and then 2 days later I had Kingpin.
Okay, I might have to take that out.
Oh,
Just because
sorry.
a lot of people haven't seen that, might not have seen that.
Touche. Good point.
It's going to stay in the video because I'm lazy, but the audio, I better set a marker.
But yeah, the Daredevil part was great for me.
And another win I had was some of the foreshadowing. I don't know if you guys saw some of the pictures in the backdrop of some scenes where it was just Ned and MJ. And I was like, when the end starts to take shape, I was just like, I was having that panic moment where I was like, they've been foreshadowing this the entire movie, that they were going to be minus one of the trio. And so I just thought, just putting those little bitty details in there like that, I thought that was so cool. Mel, any other wins that you want to talk about?
I also really liked just the fact that they stuck to their guns at the end, and how they kept it being, they could have easily have just made it jokey or what have you at the end, but it stayed serious when he saw Ned and MJ. I mean, it wasn't like a jokey comic book movie, ending. It ended with some kind of payoff, I guess you could say it. Like it wasn't like an emotional roller coaster ride where it said, "Oh, we're gonna be sad," and it's gonna be we're gonna undercut it with some jokes. Like they stuck to the landing, if that makes sense.
XD, any other wins?
One of the wins for me that I was really excited about was when Doctor Strange was doing the whole spell thing, and people were coming through. All the images that they were showing,
Yeah.
Me and my son were trying to pick them out. We think we saw Black Cat and Craven,
Nice. Nice.
and it made me want to. I'm planning on I might go later on tonight to watch it again just for that scene to see who else was there.
That's awesome. They'll be like, the movie's half over, more than half over. You'll be like, I don't care. I'm just coming to see a scene.
Right.
Give me my ticket. Give me my tickets. Yeah, that is cool. Another win that I had was like some of the little nuanced detail stuff. So when they're up on the roof trying to get away, and you see that spray paint, they kind of linger on that spray paint, that graffiti, and it's Ditko, the co-creator of Spider-Man. I was like, oh, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, my theater, they were kind of depending on me for after credits and all, any kind of nuanced stuff. People were just starting to go, should we stay? And I'm like, yeah, stay. And, it was fun. We had a lot of fun. But there's a lot of noobs in there that didn't know anything about Spider-Man. It was kind of funny. Mel, any other wins that you want to bring up?
It was a win that I did not catch, but now I'm going to look for it a second time. Is apparently in the astral plane when Doctor Strange was going against Peter. At one point, his spider sense looked like it did in the comics. Like, you see the wavy lines around Peter's head. I missed that, but they said that that was there. So if that was there, that's a win.
That's
the fact
dope.
that they did that, they finally had it in a movie, in a live action movie. It would be awesome. So instead of just the hair on his hand, in his arm. So yeah, looking for that for the next time I watch the movie.
XD, any other wins you want to focus on before we get into some of the problems?
Oh, I'm ready for the problems.
Mel, are you ready for problems?
Yes, I am.
I'm going to get nitpicky in problems, so I apologize in advance. The little lights in the room when they got the little goatee on them, and he's like, I'll go see Doctor Strange. I was like, come on, man. That's just too on the nose. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
You don't have to do that to trigger us to go. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought it was way too overdone on that. Like, you can leave some of the stuff to our imagination on why someone's doing something instead of always trying to make here's the cue, now here's the action. It's kind of silly. XD, what is one of your problems?
J. Joe Jameson's hair. He didn't have any. I would say just give him the hair piece so he can look like he's supposed to look. That was a big loss for me.
So what would I be then? I'm just curious. Because I don't have any hair. Shaven, not lost. Mel, what's one of your problems?
For me, I still, and this is every Spider-Man movie for the most part, I don't like how inconsistent they are with the spider sense. In theory, he should never be surprised.
No.
I think they did it perfectly in the second movie, Spider-Man 2, when Dr. Octopus threw the car.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's just they just are so inconsistent with it in every movie. There's no reason Tobey Maguire should have gotten stabbed.
Right,
Either
yeah.
Tobey Maguire would have should have figured it out, or Tom Holland's character should have figured it out. So it's just each time they're surprised in every movie, that makes no sense to me. It's just find a better way to do it.
Let's hash this out between the three of us real quick. Did his spider sense appear to go off when the brick came through the window? And
Yes.
Okay. You felt like it was because his hand is up, but I didn't notice any like precursor to that.
I mean, I remember his hand going up, but Daredevil's went up like right
Faster.
before. Yeah.
Which is
That should be a problem.
Well, yeah, exactly. Which is the thing is he should have noticed before it even went through the window. The only reason Daredevil would have noticed is because of the sound going through the window.
Yep.
So they should have done it where he looked, he turned his head, and Daredevil's hand went up. So that it wouldn't have spoiled anything. We still would have been the audience would have still been surprised, and Daredevil could have still did his winning moment.
Yes. All right. The Black Spider-Man line for me is a problem. Like I just get annoyed with tokenization of characters. You know, like I get that might be a nod to Miles Morales, but it was just not necessary to me. You know, you would think somewhere out there one Spider-Man would be black. You know, it's like, okay, who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care personally what color somebody is, as far as I don't have to be the same race as somebody to identify with the story. It just could be just a me thing, but that just kind of annoyed me that they slipped that in, and of course it comes from a black character, and I was just like, oh my gosh. We got our, you know what I mean? We've got plenty of unused black characters that they could actually develop if they actually wanted to do something other than just a tokenization of a existing character. But what say you, XD? What's another problem?
I gotta piggyback off that one because that one was really annoying to me, because using a black guy to bring up a black guy that we've already know is there in that universe was cheap to me.
Right.
Because I mean, we go back to I think it was either first or second one, I can't remember. Donald Glover played the Prowler,
Yep.
so we know he was there. And then a lot of people were saying the little kid that kept running through the school was supposed to be Miles Morales as younger. So it was like, what was that? What's the point?
Right. It's
Like,
kind of goofy.
You have all this information on whether Spider-Man is black or white. Like, why would that be something you'd be concerned about?
Right, exactly. It doesn't drive any storyline whatsoever. You know, because he was helping other people. Oh, I thought you might be black. You know, it's silly. Mel, any other problems you want to bring up?
I wasn't spoiled on Sandman, so that was the other person I wasn't spoiled on showing up.
Cool.
But I thought that they didn't use him. I mean, it was literally just like Spider-Man 3. They didn't do him well. I thought. I mean, it's like he was just shoehorned in. I mean, he was almost like Flash Thompson. You know, Sandman was written he was written really well in the third movie. I mean, he suffered from too many villains. And this one time it's just, oh yeah, and Sandman's here. It's how it felt. It's just, I thought he suffered from just, everybody else being overused. Not overused, but just everybody else has just kind of had more time than he did. And
Most certainly.
yeah.
And because it's not really a character that you can really get behind, in my opinion. Like, his power set and stuff is so different that you really can't get behind, like, oh, I'm the sand guy, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, that's lame. I'd rather be throwing freaking grenades all over the place, blowing stuff up, screaming like a lunatic. I mean, you could kind of identify with somebody going off the rails mentally, as opposed to, now he's sand and he's going to get dirt on your couch. It's kind of,
I feel like
corny.
For this one, the Sandman and the Lizard were just out of place.
Well, they call it the Sinister Six, so they gotta have 5 of them at least.
Outside of Electro, Ock, and Goblin, they didn't really do much.
Right. Thanks for coming. The rest of you, thanks for coming. Another one for me, I said earlier, Doctor Strange's weird behavior all throughout this, and especially, let's just get to it, in the after credits. I thought that was so dumb how me and John spent weeks podcasting on WandaVision. And then when Elizabeth Olsen's Wanda brings up like, oh, you're here to talk to me about what I did and stuff. He's like, no, we've got bigger issues than you mind controlling children and making them poop and pee themselves and stuff. You know what I mean? It just rendered that whole series we spent weeks on null and void. It's irrelevant what you've done. We've got bigger things going on. I really thought that was a slap in the face, personally. Mel, any other issues?
I'm going to have to zig here, where you just zagged. So, WandaVision wasn't just about her getting in trouble at the end. We got a new character's powers out of it. We brought Vision back to life. We officially made Wanda become Scarlet Witch. And we now have introduced 2 future Young Avengers. Along with that, we kind of did a hint for the next Captain Marvel movie, even though I already touched on that with the new character Photon, or I'm not sure what Rambo's name's going to be in this. So I think there was more to it, and more to it than just Wanda getting in trouble. Because if you want to be technical, they could have just had that scene at the end of WandaVision.
Right.
Where he confronts her and he says, "We got bigger fish to fry." That could have been the tie-in to, like they always tie in the next properties. They could have done that. So I agree with you. They could have. There was a better way to do the future trailer for Doctor Strange. They could have just had the scene at the end where he goes up to her. And not have it be a part of the overall trailer. It could have just been 15 seconds of just him walking up to Wanda and call it a day. Why never show us an actual trailer at the end of a movie? That's just clunky. You did it at the end of First Avenger, and there's a reason nobody likes the last thing at the end of First Avenger. So, anyway, yeah, I agree that was handled poorly. Adding a trailer in.
XD, any other ones you want to focus on?
I didn't like Spider-Man using math to beat Doctor Strange in the I forgot what it's called, where they were fighting at.
Oh, like that mirror dimension?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I thought that was really weird because he was like doing math in his head and he's figuring all
I'm
these
good
points.
at geometry.
And it's like you letting a grown kid, I'm not a grown kid, but you letting this teenager outwork you in an area that you supposed to be the top sorcerer. And I understand he doesn't have that position now, but like you're one of the best and you just got schooled.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I didn't like
that. Okay. My next 2 are going to be ones that really, really annoyed me. All right, so correct me if I'm wrong. I'll give you guys both an opportunity to correct what I'm going to say. Because the way I understood it was that the villainous characters would be transported back to the moment before they die. Am I wrong in that?
I was not sure about this either.
Because they all say, "Oh, I was just getting ready to. Wait a minute, I was about to die." They all have this epiphany that they're about to die. So I'm going, okay, so why are you rehabilitating all these soon-to-be dead people? Is somebody going to stop within like a fraction of a second and go, hey, wait, I've changed?
Because you look at Green Goblin's situation. I mean, is he going to be different when he is going towards Peter and Peter ducks? Because the glider's still going to go towards him and he still dies. Doesn't matter. In that situation, it definitely makes no sense. For the lizard, is it before he sets off the gas? Like, where is the change happen?
I was perplexed by that. I felt like they they did a terrible job of fleshing that out. If I'm asking the question and I'm a fairly seasoned, podcaster and reviewer, I was kind of just sitting there going, huh? Like, what is this going to do?
And
I can say that portion did confuse me because I didn't get it. Because if they were going to die, why are you putting so much effort into trying to make them to better people?
Bam! Unless they're going to a time well before this, well before where they came from.
And I'll do you one better. Doc Octopus, Dr. Doc Ock. Wow. He was already, I don't know if you remember his last few minutes, he agreed with Peter, and he helped Peter stop his machine.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. So even if you give him 5 minutes of him being rehabilitated, the same actions happen. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you there. That was... they should have explained that better or not waste time. I mean, we have heroes fighting for something that made no sense.
Right.
Doc Strange against Peter, against Spider-Man in the Mirrorverse, is all because he wanted to save people who were going to die if the timeline is... Yeah, they should have explained that a lot better.
Yes. Okay. I'm not crazy. Okay, I appreciate it. And then my last huge problem is they said when you got transported back at the end, Doctor Strange says that everyone, correct? Everyone goes back to their time. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So symbiote is living. So how do we have just a little goop of symbiote? Because he should be going back. Regardless if he's a little drip, drop, whatever, he should be going back. That's a dumb way to introduce the symbiote, to me.
I mean, but it separated itself. I mean, I'm not trying to make an excuse, but that's the only thing I can come up with. It separated itself from the host.
It's still from that timeline. Everyone from that timeline is supposed to go back, and it is a someone.
I'm gonna have to zig on this one.
You can try.
If
you can try.
I mean, if somebody gets, if one of these characters got punched and their blood lands on the ground, the blood's not going back. It's staying.
But the blood
there.
isn't going to be its own individual, is it?
The blood has living. Well, no, you're right.
Yeah,
it's dead,
but it's not its own. It doesn't live on its own.
No, yeah, you got me. I can't.
I just thought it was dumb when I was sitting there. I was like, "That's a plot hole. That doesn't make sense to me. It just don't." All right, I'll get off my soapbox. Any other problems? XD, start with you. Any other ones before we get our rating?
No.
Mel?
I'm not sure if this is a problem, if you guys don't agree. Do we think that this is a different Doctor Strange?
I do. If it's not, this is the worst crossover writing of all time. If it's not.
What's his name? Is it Mephisto?
Oh, God.
It was Mephisto all along.
No, I'm gonna have a meltdown. I'm gonna have my John anxiety is gonna kick in. Oh my God, it's Mephisto in every show we do, every movie we review, anything that's off kilter. Hey, do you think Mephisto transformed himself into a mug, and then he was just sitting there waiting for Thor to drink out of it? And you're like, no, I don't.
You know what's funny is I missed the Mephisto anxiety from WandaVision. Like, I wasn't up to date on everybody guessing Mephisto at every turn. And so once WandaVision was over and I got back to all the media and all the YouTube videos and all the everything, and where everybody was just sure, positive, I'll bet my right arm it was Mephisto. I was like, wow, what did I miss?
Did Lizard Man say that? I bet my right arm. Oh, that's too soon. Hadn't been 20 years yet. Oh my gosh, Mephisto. Oh man, where were we at? I'm so sorry because I've lost track of everything.
So XD, do you think this is a different Doctor Strange?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
If it's not a different Doctor Strange, it's a lower advanced Strange because he's not where he's supposed to be.
Okay.
Anything else before we dole out our ratings?
Nope.
You, Mel?
No, I'm good.
All right, it's time to get into our ratings. You guys want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. When I watched the movie, I was just enamored because there's just so much goodness in it, so much fun. And I thought to myself, this is outstanding. Cheer, rah, rah, rah. Then when everything started to come to the analytical mind as I'm driving home, I'm like, wait, why does this happen? And why did that happen? And wait a minute, that don't make any sense. And that don't make any sense. And this don't make, there was just some things that I really felt like if you're honest about it, it drags the movie down. Like the beginning of the movie is really sluggish. Like you can miss me with a lot of that getting into college stuff. But I'm a former pro athlete, so you can imagine how much studying I did. I loved the fan service. I think they did it the best. I think Sony made the best Marvel movie of the year easily. Period. And that should be a bad thing for the actual company that owns the characters per se. So Disney's going to have to get off their butts and do something here very soon, and they're going to have to change direction because they're going in one direction, and Sony's like, haha, you make billions when you service the fans instead of your own whatever messaging you're trying to push. So I think this movie was better than just proficient. So I'm going to go 8.5 out of 10. XD, where do you land?
Outside of the teenage mentality with everything going on in it, I really enjoyed it. I really loved the reveal of a lot of the characters. I didn't really care for certain characters like Aunt May in it, Flash Thompson. I really loved at the end. It gave me that feeling that I got when I seen The Last Stand, where it felt like they were going to change everything to go in the right direction that it was supposed to go in. So I would have to go about a 8.0.
8 even?
8 even.
Okay. Mel, where do you land?
I am going to piggyback on where what XD just said. It
Okay.
feels like we're going in a direction that we should have always been going in. So unfortunately, it took 5 movies to get there. So, I mean, so he's not going to MIT. Maybe he's going to ESU. Now there's an XD touched on this earlier. Now there's a chance for Black Cat. He meets her at college. So Black Cat can be around. We could do. Unfortunately, we might still be heading towards another Venom story, but this version of it. But not really worried about that. But the potential's there, the opportunity's there. He's where he needs to be. I like the movie a lot. I like the execution and what you were talking about earlier, Hank, about driving home or leaving the theater and then things hit you and like questions. The movie nerds, we call that fridge brilliance. It's where you're at home and you go towards the fridge, you start thinking about a movie you just saw and go, wait a minute. So even with the fridge brilliance kicking in later, I still didn't have many problems. So I'm gonna go with a 9.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You split the pair. I like it. All right. Well, I really had a lot of fun, guys. I know this ran long, but I appreciate your time, gentlemen. And then, Mel, we're going to have to figure out what's the next movie we're going to review. But I did want to throw this at you, Mel. Do you have Netflix?
Yes, I do.
Would you join me in discussing, overarching, Cobra Kai after the season? After the season wraps.
4 seasons at once? That's ambitious.
No, we're just going to do the next season. Just the next one.
Okay, that's ambitious.
And XD, we hope you will join us some more on some other reviews. I appreciate you being here.
No problem. Looking forward to that Boba Fett this Wednesday.
Oh, yes. The Mandalorian Fan Podcast returns this Friday. tpnetwork.com/subscribe. Good one, XD. But for these amazing gentlemen, I'm Hank Osborne signing off. Dattaboy. Until the next time, we'll see you.
TPE Network. There ain't nothing else like it.